Did you know that 99% of gardeners wait weeks longer than they need to for their very first sweet pepper? Today, we are diving deep into a completely game-changing method of planting sweet peppers that promises a super early, massive harvest. Forget everything you have been told about starting seeds the traditional way. We are about to uncover a hidden truth that might just make you question your entire gardening routine. We will show you how doing the exact opposite of what most seed packets recommend can actually force your plants into overdrive. Have you ever felt frustrated waiting forever for your pepper plants to finally turn green, red, or yellow? Let me know in the comments right now if you are Team Green Pepper or Team Red Pepper. Before we dive into the steps, we must understand exactly where these amazing plants come from. Sweet peppers, originally from Central and South America, are notoriously heat-loving and incredibly slow-growing plants. Historically, ancient farmers in these warm climates did not have to worry about short summer seasons or dropping temperatures. But as peppers traveled around the globe, modern gardeners in cooler climates faced a massive challenge. The standard advice has always been to start seeds incredibly early indoors, keep them perfectly warm, and simply wait patiently for months. However, this traditional gentle approach often leads to weak seedlings, root rot, and severely delayed fruiting. Understanding this tropical background is absolutely crucial because it explains why standard temperate gardening methods often fail to trigger that explosive early growth we all desperately want. Now, let us break the rules and speed up time. Let us kick things off with the very first step, which is seed preparation. Now, you might be thinking you just rip open a packet and toss the seeds into the dirt. But what if I told you that dry planting is actually one of the biggest myths holding back your early harvest? To get those super early peppers, you need to wake the seeds up forcefully. Imagine you are in a deep sleep and someone tosses a warm, wet towel on your face. You would wake up instantly. We achieve this by soaking the pepper seeds in a mild, warm chamomile tea solution for exactly 24 hours before they ever touch the soil. Chamomile acts as a natural fungicide and a gentle stimulant. When you drop those seeds into the warm tea, they absorb the liquid like tiny dehydrated sponges. This softens the hard outer shell of the seed, allowing the tiny plant inside to break through days earlier than it normally would. By simply skipping the dry plant method and giving your seeds this magical spa treatment, you are already shaving massive amounts of time off your waiting period. The seeds plump up beautifully, and you can literally see them getting ready to burst with life. It is such a simple shift in your routine, but the results will completely shock you. Moving right along to our next crucial secret, let us talk about temperature shocking. This might sound backwards for a tropical plant that loves heat, but exposing your freshly soaked seeds to a brief period of cold is a massive game changer. People always say you must keep pepper seeds incredibly warm from day one, but we are here to bust that myth wide open. Think of it like taking a brisk walk on a chilly winter morning. It gets your blood pumping and makes you feel alive. For our seeds, placing them in the refrigerator for exactly 12 hours right after their warm soak mimics a natural passing of winter. When you finally take them out and put them in a warm environment, the seeds panic in a good way. They think spring has suddenly arrived in full force, and they rush to germinate before the season passes. This contrast between the warm chamomile bath and the sudden chilly fridge environment creates an explosive biological trigger inside the seed. You are essentially hacking the internal clock of the pepper plant. I once tried this with half a batch of seeds, and the shocked seeds sprouted a full 7 days faster than the ones kept constantly warm. It guarantees that your plants will get a massive head start. Now that our seeds are wide awake, we need to talk about the bed they are going to sleep in. The third secret involves creating the absolute perfect airy soil mix. A very common mistake is using heavy, nutrient-dense potting soil right out of the bag. Many gardeners believe that more nutrients equal faster growth, but for tiny pepper seeds, heavy soil is like trying to run a marathon in boots made of solid lead. They simply cannot push their delicate roots through it. Instead, you want a mix that feels as light and fluffy as a freshly baked angel food cake. You should blend 50% cocoa coir, 25% perlite, and 25% fine vermiculite. Notice there is absolutely no heavy compost in this starting mix. The goal here is zero resistance. When the tiny root emerges, it needs to dive deep instantly without fighting any hard clumps or dense clay. Imagine pouring water through a bucket of gravel versus a bucket of thick mud. You want your soil to drain just like that gravel, holding only the essential moisture. By providing this unrestrictive environment, the root system develops at an astonishing rate. And a massive early root system is the absolute foundation for an early harvest. Are you ready for something that sounds absolutely crazy but works like absolute magic? Let us dive into the boiling water trick. Before you place your precious seeds into that light, fluffy soil we just made, you are going to pour boiling hot water directly over the potting mix. Yes, you heard me right. Literally boiling water. Many people think this will ruin the soil structure, but that is a complete myth. Think of this process like brewing a perfect cup of tea. The boiling water does two incredibly important things instantly. First, it completely sterilizes the mix, killing off any sneaky fungus gnat eggs or mold spores that could attack your vulnerable seedlings later. Second, and most importantly, it preheats the soil to the absolute core. Of course, you must wait until the soil cools down to a comfortable, warm room temperature before planting your seeds. You do not want to cook them. But once the soil cools just enough, it retains this deep, radiant warmth for a very long time. When you place your awakened, temperature-shocked seeds into this perfectly clean, deeply warm environment, they feel like they are sitting on a heated floor during a cold winter day. This radiant heat pushes them to sprout with aggressive energy. Let us move on to a step where almost everyone trips up without even realizing it, and that is the planting depth. If you look at the back of a standard seed packet, it usually tells you to plant the seeds 1/4 of an inch deep. We are going to completely ignore that advice today. The myth here is that seeds need a heavy blanket of soil to feel secure and grow strong roots. But the reality is that sweet pepper seeds have very limited energy reserves stored inside them. If you bury them too deep, they exhaust all their energy just trying to reach the surface, like a miner trying to dig out of a collapsed tunnel. Instead, we are going to plant them incredibly shallow. You simply place the seed on top of the prepared warm soil and dust it with the absolute thinnest layer of fine vermiculite. It should be so thin that you can almost still see the seed. Think of the seed like a tiny solar panel. It wants to sense the light and the warmth of the surface immediately. By planting them super shallow, the seedling breaks the surface literally within hours of germinating, saving days of struggling in the dark. This tiny adjustment preserves the vital energy of the plant for rapid upward growth instead of an exhausting battle. So, your seeds are resting perfectly near the surface, but we are not done setting the stage just yet. Now we need to create the ultimate microclimate, which brings us to the mini greenhouse effect. Sweet peppers originate in tropical environments where the air is thick with humidity. Leaving your newly planted seeds exposed to the dry air of a typical home is a massive mistake. The surface of the soil will dry out quickly, and the delicate seed could easily perish. To prevent this, you must cover your planting container immediately. You can use a clear plastic dome, or honestly, just a piece of simple kitchen plastic wrap pulled tight over the top. The moment you seal that container, you trap all the moisture and the radiant heat from our boiling water trick inside. It creates a miniature tropical rainforest right on your windowsill. Condensation will start to form on the plastic, and that is exactly what you want to see. It is like putting your seeds in a luxurious steam room. This constant high humidity softens the seed coat even further and prevents the tiny root from experiencing dangerous drought. This sealed jungle environment is the ultimate secret weapon for shaving days off your germination time. Let us shine some light on our next crucial step. The moment that tiny green shoot breaks the surface of the soil, your plant is officially starving for energy. A very common piece of advice is to keep seedlings in a dim, warm place until they get taller. This is a terrible myth that leads to long, weak, and stringy plants that will never produce an early harvest. Sweet peppers need intense, immediate light the very second they emerge. Imagine a person trapped in a dark cave who suddenly sees the bright beam of a flashlight. They will run directly toward it with everything they have. Your seedlings do the exact same thing. If the light is weak or far away, they will stretch themselves too thin trying to reach it, exhausting their energy. You need to place a strong grow light literally 2 inches above the tops of the containers. Yes, now that close. By giving them blazing, intense light right from day one, you tell the plant that it does not need to grow tall to find the sun. Instead, it focuses all its energy on growing thick, sturdy stems and broad, dark green leaves. This intense early light exposure programs the plant to become a strong, compact bush rather than a fragile, weak vine. Moving forward, we need to address the very first time you water your new little pepper plants, because doing it wrong can ruin all your hard work. Most people grab a watering can and pour water right over the top of the plants in the soil. This is a huge mistake. Top watering compacts that beautifully airy soil we created, and it splashes dirt onto the fragile baby leaves, which can invite disease. We are going to completely change the game and only water from the absolute bottom. Think of a dry kitchen sponge sitting in a shallow puddle of water. It slowly and perfectly draws the moisture up into itself without disturbing the top surface. You need to place your seedling pots into a tray and pour the water into the tray, not the pots. The soil will wick the water up through the drainage holes exactly as much as it needs. This bottom watering method forces the roots to stretch downward in search of the moisture, creating a massive, deep root system very early on. It also keeps the top layer of the soil perfectly dry, which completely eliminates the risk of dampening off disease. By teaching the roots to dive deep from the first drink, you build a resilient plant ready for a heavy harvest. Now, hold on to your hats, because this next step goes against every natural instinct you have as a gardener. We are talking about the early pruning secret. When your pepper plant is about 6 inches tall and looking absolutely beautiful, you're going to take a pair of sharp scissors and snip the very top off the plant. I know it sounds absolutely terrifying. The common myth is that you must preserve every single leaf to get a good harvest, and cutting the plant will set it back. But let me tell you the brilliant truth behind this. When you cut the main growing tip, you disrupt the hormones that force the plant to grow straight up. This signals the plant to panic and activate all the dormant side shoots along the stem. It is exactly like the mythical Hydra. When you cut off one head, 2 more grow back in its place. Your single, straight pepper plant will suddenly explode into a wide, bushy shape with multiple main branches. More branches means significantly more flowers, and more flowers equal dramatically more peppers. While it might seem like you are delaying growth for a few days, this technique actually speeds up the overall fruiting process because you multiply the production sites. Finally, let us discuss the critical moment of moving your pepper plants to their permanent home, whether that is a larger pot or your outdoor garden. The final secret is all about the timing of the transplant. A very persistent myth is that you should wait until the roots are completely filling the starter pot and swirling around the bottom before transplanting. People call this being root-bound. But letting your peppers get even slightly root-bound is a massive disaster for an early harvest. Imagine trying to run a race wearing shoes that are 3 sizes too small. It stunts your growth and causes permanent damage. The moment a pepper plant senses that its roots have hit a wall, it permanently shifts its metabolism and dramatically slows down its growth, sometimes never fully recovering. You must transplant your peppers the very moment you see the first tiny white roots peeking out of the bottom drainage holes, well before they start circling. By moving them into a massive new space, just as they are picking up speed, they never experience a single moment of restriction. They simply explode into the new soil without skipping a beat, ensuring they pour all their energy into those early peppers. So there you have it, the ultimate plot twist in sweet pepper gardening. By combining temperature shocks, boiling water, and fearless early pruning, we have completely rewritten the rules of nature. Who knew that stressing the seeds with cold or chopping the tops off perfectly healthy plants would be the exact triggers needed for a super early harvest? These unconventional methods force the plant's survival instincts into overdrive, resulting in massive growth and rapid fruiting that leaves traditional methods entirely in the dust. We went from a specialized chamomile tea soak right through to strategic bottom watering and perfectly timed transplanting. Every single step is designed to save days, which adds up to weeks of extra harvest time. Thank you so much for watching and learning with me today. If you found these secrets helpful, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a huge like, and leave a comment below. I have to know, which of these 10 steps surprised you the most? And are you brave enough to try the early pruning technique this season? Let us discuss it in the comments right now.